Welcome back to the November 16th version of the Zooch and Wilde podcast. I'm a little tired, but I'm juiced up. There was a lot, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like I'm more excited to talk about the non on the field related stuff this week. It was
Oh
kind of
yeah.
a
Oh
wacky
yeah.
week. It was a
I
wacky
love
week. I mean, from people dropping
the death of Jim
touchdowns
Harbaugh.
to the death of Jim Harbaugh. Yes, as you can see, R.I.P. Jim.
That interview. If you had no context, if you like 3 weeks ago had or before the stuff with Connor Stallions came out, if you went into a coma, right, and the first thing you woke up and saw was that coach giving that interview, you would think Jim Harbaugh had moved to the other life.
Well, yeah, that's the main thing we're going to talk about is that Michigan Penn State game. It was high profile going in, and I mean, first we have to address the stuff that happened off the field. There was so much that happened. Like we're going to get into the game, but you have that coach crying on the field. I love you, man. It's for you, man. And then it's like the most awkward dap up with like Blake Corum of all time. Like you could tell Blake Corum's like, it's like settle down, man. If you've seen that one wrestling video, it's still real to me. Damn it, Blake Corum was the guy in the background going, "Why don't you settle down, man? Settle
Yeah.
down."
Take it
You have
easy. Take it
that.
easy.
Yeah, yeah. Take it easy. That's what it was. Take it easy. What you do to your? That's a great video. We'll talk about. Now you got me thinking about that awesome video. But I mean, yeah, you would have thought Jim Harbaugh would have died.
Yeah, that Big
It
Ten
was
always
insane.
delivers. The Big Ten has had some of the best off the field moments, starting this year with Ryan Day just going
Yep.
after Lou Holtz. Then you had
Yep.
James Franklin freaking out, and now you have that coach thinking
Yep.
Jim Harbaugh is dead.
Yeah, you have, and then another funny part was that did you see the video of James Franklin getting booed running into like the tunnel and like they have the 4K tunnel view, people going boo, and then like that one offensive lineman comes out and freaks out, he goes shut up, and the guy's like you suck, and like Penn State, I think this was the straw that broke the camel's back for Penn State. I think this year they legitimately thought Penn State fans, they legitimately thought that they had a chance at the playoff. And now anyone with a brain who has an objective opinion would go, "You're the third best team in the conference. You're not going to make the playoff." But yeah, Penn State fans, welcome back to reality. And I don't know, you can give your opinion on this. For the people calling for James Franklin's job, I think it's a little hasty. I think they need to wait for the 12 team. They have to wait for that 12 team, and then if he doesn't deliver there, then you go ahead and fire them.
Yeah, so I think there's a lot of teams that I'm not sure how I feel about the 12-team playoff. As a kid, I would have been super excited for it. But now, I think a lot of fans are excited for it because it does give them a better chance because you're not going to be like, how many teams, honestly, do you think would, if Georgia makes the playoff and whoever they play in the first round has the month, 3 weeks, whatever it is, to prep for
Yeah.
them, and then they get 2 weeks off to prep for whoever they would play in the national title? Georgia's going to win that game
Mm-hmm.
9 times out of 10, probably, but unless
Yeah.
it's like a Clemson run, like Alabama was always winning it, or Clemson, like.
Mm-hmm.
And I think now, because that will be like, it starts the week after conference championships, right?
Yeah, it'll start
I
earlier because
believe.
they got to fit in. They got to fit in a ton of games.
Yeah, so I think that does give Penn State a little bit better of a chance. I know, and like it'll be different when they're playing. I'm trying to think of like Florida State or something. Like Michigan and Ohio State play them every year. Jim Harbaugh and Ryan Day have been playing James Franklin for like what, a decade now. He's been there a
Mm-hmm.
while,
Yeah,
so
he was
they know what's
playing.
coming. And
Yeah, he coached a little bit against Urban, I think, like the tail end of
yeah,
the Urban
he's
years,
been there
didn't he?
a while because he
Yeah,
came right after Bill O'Brien, and Bill O'Brien
yeah. Was
was
coaching the
on the
Texans in like
coaching the Texans for
2014.
a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think they just have like they're better coaches than James Franklin, clearly.
Well, my thing with James Franklin is that it's it's been said on countless podcasts before and countless opinions, but 90 like almost all of college football fan bases, except for a few, would take Penn State. Every other year, you're in a New Year's
Oh yeah,
Six. You beat everyone except for two teams, pretty much. You literally beat everyone except for two teams, and every 4 or 5 years you beat one of those teams, and it's the greatest thing ever. But like Penn State, they still view themselves and they think they're the best. They're not. You guys are
Yeah,
losers. And why and
right.
why I think you guys are losers is mainly because of your fan base. I think James Franklin is a great coach. I'm not gonna say good. I'm gonna say great. I think he's a great coach. I think their fan base are losers. And just getting into the game wise, is Drew Aller overrated? I think he is. I'm
I think
tired
for
of
what
all the Penn State fans in the offseason that's saying Drew Aller was like the best thing since sliced bread, and he literally can't complete a pass more than 10 yards.
he is, oh, what was that doofus's name that came there a while back that, uh,
Hackenberg,
yeah, he's Christian Hackenberg 2.0.
he is no,
Like,
and people were like, he's Trace McSorley but better. It's like no, he's literally Christian Hackenberg.
yeah, and that's been the thing with Penn State for since I can remember now. It's like always a pretty good defense and an offense that is just there. I mean, like seriously, like how many points do you think that offense would score against Alabama or Georgia? 10,
13.
maybe.
Yeah, I would give him 13. I like James Franklin as a person, even though I hate Penn State. So I give James Franklin like James Franklin would take that way seriously. It would be like a 40-10 game, and he'd like march the offense down the field and get like a touchdown on Georgia's scout team, whatever bowl
Yeah,
game that is. But yeah, this was a demoralizing game for Penn State. Michigan doesn't even attempt to pass in the second half, but Michigan, they're a monster. You may have created a monster with this Harbaugh suspension. So it'll be
oh yeah,
interesting to see in the weeks to come. It will be very interesting to see in the weeks to come. But yeah, it
cannot
is
wait for Michigan
interesting.
Ohio State.
Oh, that's it. Michigan, Ohio State, game of the year,
It is going to be the game
easily.
of the year.
Yeah, easily. Okay, is it? Are we getting? Last thing about this, are we getting ahead of ourselves? And am I getting too excited for the potential soundbite of that game? Because you said we've got some great Big Ten sound bites already. What do you
Oh, it's
think?
going to be.
Also, put all your money if you can bet on some sketchy sports book that there will be an a pregame scuffle between the two teams, whether in the tunnel or on the field. You can bet
There'll be
money,
a
heard it here
pregame
first.
scuffle.
There will be a pregame scuffle. 100%.
That will happen. It's going to be in the big house, so it's going to be rowdy. There
Right
will
in that
be
tunnel, probably. It'll be right in that tunnel that they always come out of.
right in the tunnel.
Um,
We'll have the Jim Harbaugh obituary before the game starts.
yes. Yes, they'll probably have like a live like like satellite cam, like how they do the draft, and he's just like watching on his couch or something, eating like
They'll do the like sky cam coming in when Gus Johnson goes, "We sent it down to the All-American girl, Jenny Taft," and Ryan Day will say something about this is why these guys came to Ohio State and
yeah.
they put the pass behind them.
Yeah. Oh, cannot wait for that. Flipping on to some other like not as fun stuff. I mean, it's exciting stuff because it gives us such a talk about, but a lot of coaching changes this last weekend. The big one is Jimbo Fisher, obviously out at A&M. We have Chip Kelly, Chips and Dip, RIP, out at UCLA, and Andy Avalos out at Boise State. The thing
And
I'll go
Zach Arnett.
Andy. Zach Arnett, yeah, at Mississippi State.
Yeah.
Mississippi State. Okay, we'll start with him quick. Zach Arnett at Mississippi State, just because I want to say, did you see who's the Liberty coach, like Jamie like Chadwick
Yeah,
and
Jamie Caldwell or something.
Caldwell, and like he tweeted something, and I don't know, I could be getting like duped and fake, but I saw something on Twitter where he was like, "This is great," like hashtag like fire the flames, and like he left his location on this. This could be completely fake. I don't know if this was fake or not, but it said like tweeting from like Starkville, Mississippi, and someone was like, "Dude, you got to turn your location off because you
You
are
outed yourself.
you outed yourself on visiting Starkville." But yeah, that's enough of Mississippi State. But I think Jamie Chadwick would be a good hire for them. But yeah, A&M, that's a lot of money. I mean, but I'm torn on A&M letting it go because I don't think, and I've noticed this, I don't think A&M might be like the most toxic environment, I think, for a coach.
I think so because I think A&M, if you look at if you could draw up put aside the toxic part, if you could draw up as a head coach everything you would want at a program if you're interviewing for a job, you're going to get paid well.
Hmm.
You're going to get good recruiting classes. You have a good fan base. You have great
Facilities.
NIL, great facilities. You have like A&M to me is a place where their expectations should. I know they haven't won a national title in forever, but their expectations should be winning a national. Like I
Well,
understand.
that's why I think it's like toxic because it's like that expectation combined with the fact that the last 2 decades, you take out Johnny Manziel, what do they have to like show for anything college football world wise?
Nothing.
Like, and
Nothing at
I
all. He
so I
didn't even
think it
win
just
the SEC West.
yeah, it's just like they build themselves up and they get themselves down. It's a environment, and I just look back to think, man, what if this version of A&M had like stuck in the Big 12? Do you think it would have worked?
I think a lot of the stuff he did there was work. I don't know. I don't know what went wrong there. I think part of A&M's deal was being in the SEC, to be completely honest with you, because they've been
Hmm.
in the middle of two dynasties, basically. I mean, Georgia's
Yeah, they've been in the
probably
middle
the
of Georgia, Alabama, and then they've been in the middle of literally the occasional LSU like diamond season 2011 and 2019. Like
exactly.
they can't catch a break.
No, they've been just stuck in the middle of it. But even then, he still is like getting like 4 or 5 losses every year, and it's like they're so weird because was it I guess it was 2 years ago now, that year that they beat Alabama when we were driving back from the Boise BYU game.
Yeah, yeah, we
They
watched that
he's beaten
game
Alabama
at
a
a rest
couple
stop. We
times.
had to pull over to. That was a funny story, little Zooch and Wild story. Me, Zooch, Sean, and Ryan. Actually, a lot of all the settle down people, pretty much. Yeah, we were driving back from Provo, and we had to pull over in the middle of the night because we wanted to finish the game on Zooch's phone at a rest stop
Right,
in
and it was
on the
pouring
on
rain.
yeah on the Idaho Utah border. And you remember that we're getting off track. Remember that sketchy guy who like came like in? It's like we're watching in the car now.
Yeah, we're gonna go to the car to watch it. But yeah, he's done like, they'll do that and then, like, lose to Troy or whoever it was they lost to.
Yeah,
Or no, Appalachian State they lost to
Appalachian State,
last
yeah,
year.
they lost to App
And you're
State.
just like, how does that even I don't know. I don't know how to describe his
Yeah, I don't.
tenure there.
It
Obviously, it
is
didn't work, but
mixed feelings. I think they were cutting their losses before it got to. But I think out of all three coaches that we're gonna like talk about more, Avalos, Chip Kelly, and Jimbo, I think Jimbo, out of all of them, probably deserved one more year the most
yeah.
because I think UCLA honestly was a very proactive fire. I
Oh,
think
yeah.
UCLA is going. We're going into the Big Ten. Do we really want Chip, who can get us 8 to maybe 9 wins, including our bowl in the Pac-12. But that's like kind of Chip Kelly seems to be Chip Kelly's ceiling. He's had good recruiting classes. He has money at UCLA. He got an NFL quarterback last year and the year before that in DTR. And it seemed like last year with DTR was kind of the ceiling, kind of like that 20 to 25 ranked team. And that's not going to cut it. Like you can joke all about, UCLA fans not filling up the Rose Bowl and, they're very casual fans. But like the administration and the people who have money at that school care about winning in their sports. Every
Yeah.
other sport at UCLA is held to a high standard and wins pretty consistently, except for not even like even basketball now, ever since they hired Mick Cronin, has been winning pretty consistently. Every other
W
sport at that school wins consistently except for football. It seems.
yeah, and even because I was looking some stuff up about them before, because I do think they get a bad rap for, fans not showing up. And speaking of basketball, like, I was, like, looking at Steve Alford, who was, uh, their coach, it looks like, for
Yeah, he was
3
Alonzo Ball years.
yeah, 7 years. He made 3 Sweet 16s in 7 years and got fired halfway through that 7th year. Like,
Yeah,
How many
UCLA,
schools do you know that
very
would fire their coach if their team had made 3 Sweet 16, basically a Sweet 16 every other year?
shoot. I mean, I think Leon Rice has done a great job in Boise, and he's made the tournament twice. Like,
Right.
UCLA sports are an unreal standard that they're held to. And
Oh,
I
yeah.
think Chip Kelly was just not that standard. And I think it was the perfect, changing of the guard. We're already changing conferences. It'll be an easy change. You know what I mean? So, and I don't think they're going to lose a lot of recruits, in my opinion. I think this is going to be one of those things. And plus, UCLA is a school. You lose 25 people to the transfer portal, you'll get 15 high ranked guys in a snap of the finger. It's very easy to recruit UCLA, NIL, stadium, everything.
Yep, agreed.
And then the last one we talked about a lot, Andy Avalos. This, I don't know where to begin. I think we give ourselves a 5 minute limit here because I think we could talk for an hour about this.
Oh, yeah,
But
we could.
I think it was going to happen. It's just surprising it happened this week. But then you hear a lot of the stuff that comes out. I'm going to reserve a lot of my opinions till many months from now. 'Cause I don't want to be the guy who jumps to conclusions about, oh, this was this, and the locker room was like this, and this was this. It seems like what I deciphered, and you can tell me if you think the same, was that the incident where he fired like the director of, what was his name?
Lou Major.
I think that moment was probably the set off. And I think that's when Jeremiah Dickey decided to be proactive in the firing. I think if that doesn't happen, he waits till the end of the year. I just think that was like the cherry on top.
That seems like what it was because when I went to the game Saturday, and even I told one of my friends, I was like, that's a weird person to get let go, like in the middle of this. I guess it's towards the end now, but in the middle of the season, basically, I was like,
Mhm.
that's you know strange. And then the next morning, I woke up, and really, it wasn't even on my. I had gotten on Twitter a couple times, like just looking at like seeing what people were posting about the games from Saturday. This was on Sunday morning, but it was shocking to me because one of my that friend I went to the game with called me, and I was like, yeah, he just got it almost seemed like it didn't come out of nowhere because I think that he was definitely, Jeremiah Dickey hadn't said he was on the hot seat or anything like that, but I think at 5-5, you're in your third year, you're kind of on the hot seat if you're at a school that wins 10 or 11 games every year. But yeah, I don't know. Fans always rush to judgment. I mean, they couldn't wait last year for Tim Plow to get fired, and we're happy
Oh,
he
I was
obviously.
all about the Tim Plow.
And now, like, stuff comes out that he wasn't able, allegedly. Like I said, I take all of this with a grain of salt because you're getting a lot of your stuff from 18 to 22-year-olds and their parents. And how many times when you were 18 to 22, if something had happened, did you tell your parents something bad was happening? Did you tell your parents the full story if you thought the full story was going to.
I don't think I would tell my parents anything when I'm 18 to 22. I don't
Yeah,
think.
exactly. So we're getting a lot of, I don't know, like I just take it with a grain of salt.
I hope
And
Andy
I'm
gets a
sure there was
chance.
stuff he did that he could have done better. Like it was his first head coaching gig, stuff
Mhm.
like that. But I try to stay away from the just right now. It's just all piling on, and he really hasn't had a chance to defend himself.
Mhm.
He didn't even get
That's what I'm saying.
like,
I think if he gets two two things that I think will be huge tells in all of this is the transfer portal. I know it's technically open for Boise State right now because they had a coach leave, but no, look for that transfer portal December date. And I would really like Andy Avalos to jump on like a 30-minute interview with someone to, talk out his side of the story.
yeah,
Even if it's his biased viewpoint, then I feel like with all the information we have on one side, information we have on Andy's side, then we can use to form an opinion on what actually happened. What's facts is his teams were underperforming, and unfortunately, at a school like BSU,
yeah, agreed.
5-5 in your third year doesn't cut it. It's sad. No one wants to see someone lose their job, and it's like the Scott Frost effect, where it stinks because you have to be like, "Oh, Andy Avalos, the player was awesome." Like that stinks that you now have to like put that little thing in there. Like
Right.
you can't just say Andy Avalos is awesome anymore. Just like you can't say Scott Frost is awesome anymore.
That
So
makes sense.
tough
And
situation, but really excited to see who they hire next. I first of all, for all of you weirdos who think that they're gonna get Kellen Moore, bubble popped. There is a 0% chance that we hire Kellen Moore. Much as I would like him, I'm telling you this now. You see this? What's that? A zero.
0.
There is
No.
0% chance he leaves the NFL.
One thing I do love about when a new coach is coming and no one knows who it is yet is the names that
Oh,
get
people
thrown
just
out there.
throw out
Like,
names.
we've seen some Gary Patterson out there.
Yeah, I saw it, Gary. I think I saw a Dan Hawkins one.
Dan Hawkins, uh, Dirt Cutter was another
Brian
one. It's like,
Harson. Brian Harson was getting thrown
and our
around.
fans are specifically bad about not knowing coaches exist outside of someone who has coached here since the year 2000 in some capacity. But last thing on Avalos, worst case scenario, and I thought about this, is he's going to get another defensive coordinator job
Oh, like
somewhere.
SDSU. Oh, I could totally see him at
And my
SDSU.
worst case scenario would be 12-team playoff next year. We make it, and our first matchup is against whoever he's the DC for, and just revenge game, like
I
the
think at
100
that
yards of
point,
offense.
I would take that. Sorry. I would sign up if Boise State makes the 12-team playoff and we lose like 20-3. I think I'd take that. Yeah, sign me up for that. I mean, it'd be embarrassing and everyone across the country would laugh at the group of five, but it'd be a hell of a run, man. It would
That
be an
is true.
awesome
That is
season.
true.
So I'll take that. But keeping with the potential sadness, Zooch, I'll let you take the Ole Miss Bama game. Your thoughts on Ole Miss?
Well, the Ole Miss Bama game was bad. Ole Miss Georgia was also not fun.
Oh my God! Oh no! 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 Oh!
We knew who you meant. We knew who you meant. It was
Oh! No! No! Duh. That's left hand up. Left. I mean, that's the right hand on the people. We're gonna get rid of that. You know what? Sometimes we make mistakes. We're human too. This is how you
exactly
know. This is how you know we one shoot it. Ain't no cuts here. Ain't no edits. This is unfiltered raw. And now I'm throwing off for the next 30 seconds to get your opinion across. Ole Miss
it
Georgia.
was. It started out great. I was very excited. I was like, "Oh, the offense looks great," and then by that third drive, I knew they weren't getting a stop defensively. And at halftime, I was like, "All right, I'm going to go to the BSU game. I want to go see how they play." And couldn't really get self. The last image I have of that game is Jackson Dart's carcass laying on the ground
How
after
is it?
like getting hit, and it was just I don't know. I still think you're starting to have some Ole Miss fans who are losing like Lane Kiffin can't win the big game, blah blah blah. I
Is it
mean
safe
Georgia
to
does
say
that.
Ole Miss? Is it safe to say Ole Miss is kind of like the Penn State of the SEC, where like it's like a semi unrealistic expectation, but they're always going to kind of be like that third to fourth best team, and like they're competing for New Year's Sixes every year, but it's going to be really hard for them without a 12-team playoff to break through to national championship.
Yeah, which is why I think the 12-team playoff is good because it gives teams like them a realistic shot of making it in, and not even that I think they should make it in this year. I mean, they've lost to the two best teams they played, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
but I still think that. I mean, Lane Kiffin's first year was the COVID year, so this is his
Fourth.
fourth year. Like, you
Yeah.
still got, I mean, he'll win probably 10 games this year.
Might get a New Year's Six bid if he's
Might
lucky.
get a New Year's Six bid. Like, you can't be too mad at the progress he's made there. I think that, they still have some NIL stuff to work out. And like he said, they got to recruit a little bit better and coach a little bit better. And I don't
That's
think,
crazy that like that Ole Miss could think they have NIL trouble when there's schools, like Wazoo and shoot like Minnesota who are like drowning, BSU drowning, and Ole Miss is like, yeah, like we're struggling. We can only give players like 90,000 a year.
right.
It's
No,
insane.
I really do believe eventually he'll get them close to a national title. I don't know that they'll win one. I mean, he might Lane Kiffin could leave for Texas A&M next week. Who knows? Like, coaches are like that. But I don't know. I mean, I figured they were going to be up against it because I think Georgia they're doing, like I've said before, they're doing the thing with Georgia that they always try to do with Alabama, and they're not as good. They're not as good. Well, they look pretty
Kirby,
freaking good.
that Kirby. Don't let anyone say Georgia's not as good. No one has had Georgia outside of the top 4 all year. That is Kirby Smart pumping propaganda into the media. That's all he does.
And now
I guarantee you, after Georgia wins the SEC, there will be a player from Georgia, probably a rotational defensive lineman, who will say, "Y'all thought we weren't going to win the SEC. Y'all thought we were going to lose 2 games. No, we didn't. No one thought that.
I knew you were going to probably
SEC
kill
favorite.
everyone.
You were the SEC favorite. We took a look at your schedule, and everyone went, maybe Tennessee. That was everyone's thought,
Right.
literally." But no, it was my main thought on this game was it started out close, and then I feel like I blinked and like walked away, and then I came back and they were down by like Ole Miss was by like 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, they couldn't stop anything on defense at all. I mean, Georgia the first half was just marching up and down the field, and Ole Miss after like the first drive had 3 offensive linemen out, and I don't know. It's just they were overmatched basically, but it's in Oxford next year, so
hey, come to the SIP.
Exactly.
Come to the SIP. Not coming to the SIP, UW Utah, and we would be beside ourselves if we didn't mention probably is going to be in our award show the odds-on favorite to win craziest play of the year. When the UW defensive lineman ran all the way back and Deshaun Watson the ball, immediately followed by, for some reason, Utah running like a zone inside run and immediate safety.
Right. It was so funny because I've never seen someone drop the ball that far away from the goal. Like he wasn't even
2 yards. They didn't even need a replay. Like the ref called it on the field. Like that's how like early it was. That I mean, UW they win again. They win again. Utah's a solid team. It's a good win, but UW they're playing good, but they're not playing, I would say, elite where they're beating teams up.
right.
So I think for better or for worse, they've played themselves in a situation where kind of like FSU has, where one loss will tank them.
Yeah, if they lose,
like Oregon, I think could get in with the loss to UW. I don't think UW can get in with a loss, even if they do win the Pac-12.
No, I agree. I really think one of those playoff spots is going to come down to Oregon, Washington. Whoever wins that game in the Pac-12 title is going to make the playoff. And I don't know how to feel about UW. I could every week I could see them. I don't think they're so good that you're like, oh, they're not going to lose this game. But I don't think I wouldn't necessarily pick against them.
Yeah, like when I think about UW, I have to think about how they'd match up against other potential playoff teams. So, like they looked like they beat Oregon, so I think they can line up against Oregon. I think they could line up against a team like Texas. I think they could line up against FSU. I think they could line up against Ohio State on a good day. But it's like Michigan, Georgia, Alabama. That's when you go like, can UW do that? Because historically they haven't. But like I said before, this UW team is different than years past. They look like a playoff team. They have size and speed like a playoff team. So UW keep winning. If they keep winning and Oregon keeps winning, that Pac-12 championship might be I think it's already going to be the most viewed of all time because it's the last one anyway. But it might be heavily viewed. And I wish the Pac-12 championship game was still at Levi's Stadium. Those cowards moved it. So now I can't go anymore. Yeah, the true Pac-12 championship game was only in front of like 40,000 people, and the upper deck of Levi's was like tarped off, so you can only sit in the lower bowl. That's a true Pac-12 championship game. I don't want to see a packed Vegas stadium with everyone having fun. No, I want everyone to sit in South Bay, Santa Clara traffic. That's the Pac-12 right there. But the slate, yeah. Any games you want to touch on in the slate? The only thing I have is Eli Drinkowitz confirmed to everyone what I've been saying for months, that he's a total tool. Did you see that handshake with Josh Heupel where he just goes like, "Oh, that's how the ballers play" or something, then just immediately sprint walks away? Eli Drinkowitz, tool alert. He is officially not. He is officially a tool, and he is on coward alert. He is on coward alert.
Yeah, I mean, they play Florida this weekend. Florida's kind of down bad right now. Sunbelt Billy is
Sunbelt Billy.
going through it right now. The fans aren't happy there. They might lose out. Honestly, they have
Jeez.
Missouri and then FSU.
You
But
remember the Graham Mertz
yeah,
for
this is
Heisman
that
people
weird.
after week 2?
Yeah,
Those people
this is
might need to go back and delete some tweets.
yeah, this is that weird week. I was just looking through the schedule. It's that weird. I
Hmm.
mean, we talked about it at the beginning of the season. It's the week that you don't have any great games because everyone. Not that you don't have any great games, but
Yeah, it's
everyone's
not.
rivalry week is next week. So
Yeah,
everyone
it's not
is
a.
like scheduling their crappy opponents this week, basically.
I checked that too. I mean, yeah, there's not the traditional powers. I mean, we got Washington, Oregon State, which is a game that I think has become a good game. But yeah, when you look at when they make that game before the year, they're going, oh yeah, it'll be all right. But I think yeah,
Right.
Washington, Oregon State. I mean, trap game for Washington for sure. But I think Washington like scrapes by like one touchdown again. Like I mean, I think it's going to be the same kind of game as Utah. I think you got to sneeze.
I do. I keep yawning too. It's been a long. I played Call of Duty too late last night, so I'm powering through. But
uh,
yeah, I mean, I'm like looking at the top 25 right now, and I mean, you have Florida State, North Alabama, Oregon, Arizona State, Ohio State, Minnesota, Georgia,
Jeez,
Tennessee,
that game's it's gonna be brutal. Minnesota,
Utah,
Ohio.
Arizona could be pretty good, but they're not
Yeah,
playing for like a ton,
anything except
honestly.
I would say Arizona's
Texas,
playing
Iowa.
for more. Arizona's playing for more in that game because they're like, oh, maybe we can get ranked. Kansas
They
State.
are ranked.
That's gonna
Arizona's
yeah.
uh
Arizona is ranked. Arizona is ranked. So that's what I mean. Like
and then
they have more to play for than Utah because Arizona's usually not ranked. So they're probably like, let's make this like our best season in a decade, sort of deal.
yeah, which
But yeah, there's
looking at this top 25, Louisville is number 10 going at Miami, and you can get a ticket for $6. So
fail. Yeah. Danny Boy Kane down bad. Wait, someone needs to check on Danny. We haven't done a check on Danny Boy Kane in a while. I wonder. I hope he's okay. I hope
yeah, it's been a
our friend Danny
rough
is
go.
okay. Danny Boy Kane, all-time moment when he had to address the rumors and withdraw his name from the head coaching search.
Yes, that was an immediate follow when I saw that.
But yeah,
Immediate follow.
the only other game that's kind of cool this week is Kansas State, awesome in-state rivalry, two ranked teams. I guess Kansas. Do either of these teams have a slim chance at the Big 12 title
I
game?
don't.
It's kind of a mess right now in the Big 12. Besides
Yeah,
Texas, it's kind of a mess
I
because
mean, look,
Oklahoma State lost this last weekend. It's a complete mess in the Big 12.
they got killed. That was kind
Hey,
of out of nowhere.
undefeated in the Space U unis, UCF.
They are. So let's see here. The Big
Yeah,
12.
what's the rankings right now?
So it's Texas, Oklahoma State, Oklahoma,
Oklahoma, that's right.
Kansas, and Kansas State still has 2 losses, so I would think they're realistically still in it. Texas is probably going to go. They just have Iowa State and Texas Tech left, but I don't know that second. I'm guessing it would be.
Oklahoma.
I
No,
don't know,
but
but
they have 2 losses, Oklahoma, right?
yeah, one of them's to Oklahoma State. Oklahoma has BYU and TCU. Shout out Cody Boyson. Oklahoma State has Houston and BYU. I don't know. Like they released their tiebreaker scenario thing today. I didn't read it, but people were like saying basically it favors Oklahoma, which of course it
I
does.
don't
They
know
want
how it
Texas,
could
Oklahoma.
if it's too that's like the one that it would be so fitting, right? That the two teams that are leaving would be in the Big 12 championship, but it is what it is. Yeah, last thing that's kind of cool this week is want to get your perspective. Obviously, James Madison is getting game day this week, so I am going to be tuning the game day. And today they just announced that PFT is going to be the guest picker,
I
which is going
saw
to be
that.
super funny. Um, Yeah, JMU, their bowl ban wanted to get. I mean, my thoughts are like on their bowl ban. They've already are planning to appeal the legal action because they filed a lawsuit to play in a bowl. And also, people are forgetting our friend Rich Rod down in Jacksonville State, who is also bowl eligible and deserves to play in the Bahamas Bowl. But yes,
The next BSU coach, Rich Rodriguez.
oh oh yeah, a little honorable, little insight maybe. Yes, but yeah, JMU. It's kind of been a wacky year for them because without that bowl ban, they're sitting as the Group of Five team right now. That's probably going to get the New Year's Six bid. Who do you
Yeah, I mean,
think that Group of Five team is? Do you think it's Tulane,
I don't know who. I mean,
Liberty, Jamie Chadwell?
that's the only. It's got to be one of those two. But like, I don't. Let me look real quick. Actually, I honestly think it could be SMU still as well because I'm pretty sure.
Are they one loss?
So SMU has 2 losses, but their losses are to TCU and Oklahoma. The
So
TCU
you're
one's not great, but they play Memphis and Navy. So when they play Memphis this weekend, that it's not a ranked matchup, but that's kind of an elimination. If they win that, SMU, although I don't know,
because then
this
no,
is
because
why
then
this new conference
SMU
stuff.
would SMU would go to the American Championship against Tulane. Then they beat Tulane, and that's how they.
Correct. And so I guess you could maybe consider UTS. UTSA has 3 losses though,
Yeah, no way, no way,
but
3 loss team.
they play at Tulane. Uh the day I'm pretty sure 11/24 is Black Friday. It's the Thanksgiving weekend that game
Hmm.
is. But I would think if SMU finishes 11-2, they would probably put them in over uh Liberty, I would assume.
Yeah, Liberties and CUSA. It's tough.
And
CUSA is tough.
what bowl game does the group of 5 team go to this year? If
No
it's the
clue.
Cotton
Don't
Bowl,
got a
they're
clue.
for sure putting SMU in there because they'll have a million
Tulane's
fans
a
there.
pretty. It, how Tulane's pretty close too.
I'm
Like,
saying if
oh,
SMU wins the American, because you have
oh,
to win your conference or whatever
yeah.
and I guess maybe I think a distant third would be like a Mountain West school if like UTSA were to beat Tulane and then beat SMU, then I don't know that they would put in a 3-loss UTSA over an like 11-2 Fresno, even though I don't think that either team is
I
deserving of
was
it.
I was I was kind of hoping for the undefeated Air Force to see like the triple option in the New Year's Six.
Yeah, that would have
That
been
was that would have been so much
ideal. It would
fun.
have just been funny because I would have been
Like
like, "This is what
watching
we've been doing it for years."
it would have been like imagine a school imagine the loser of like the Big 12 championship game like having to play like Air Force. Like imagine like Oklahoma having to play Air Force. That would have been funny.
Yeah,
Um
which Liberty's not even ranked.
they have a crap schedule. They got to do
They
a
do.
better job. They got to do a better job of scheduling better non-con. Like they're a team that like needs 3 quality non-con opponents. Like, because
Also,
they're
I'm
just
looking.
playing poo. They play poo in the CUSA.
This is bad. They play New Mexico State twice,
Jeez,
both
the
at
fighting
home.
Aggies.
They get
I
New
didn't even
Mexico
know
State twice at home.
that's pathetic. That's pathetic.
So yes, if SMU
Flames.
wins out, SMU will
Fight the
go to the
flames.
uh
What is it?
New Year's
Oh,
Six.
fight the flames. Strike the stone, right? That's what the Liberty do.
I
I see
believe
their
so.
reels pop up all of my time in the Explore. Yeah, that's kind of it this week. The only last thing I have in the slate is big time Mountain West scheduling news. Oregon State and Wazoo, they finally joined. Um, Kind of like a uneasy. Would you say this is? I think this is a temporary agreement. I think this is like 2-year deal. Or if you guys haven't heard, Oregon State and Wazoo obviously joining the Mountain West temporarily, sort of like a alliance of sorts, right? Zooch, is that the right
Yeah,
word?
I think it's an alliance until the uh,
Big
buyouts,
12.
whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
drop by like 17 million, and then the Pac-12 is going to pick the Mountain West schools they want to come to the Pac-12.
Hmm.
Basically, that's what I think is going to happen.
Which is nice because I feel like for Boise State, it's gonna feel nice to not have to worry about feeling left out of that at least. And
Yeah,
even if it's not a power, I was even if it's not, I think a lot of people have this opinion. Even if the Pac-12 is no longer a power conference, that conference is pretty much going to become the best Group of Five conference. So it's pretty much like if you win the conference, you get that you get an at large bid. You might not get two
exactly.
teams in, but you're pretty much guaranteed if you win that conference, you're in. So looking forward to that. I think in the scenario that you just described, the teams coming over because what they would want 10 out of the 12 teams, or how many teams are in the Mountain West? Is it 10 or are
The
there
Mountain West has 14 right
10,
now.
14,
I believe so. No, it's 12, 12.
12? So realistically, they only take like will only take 8 or 10 probably. I mean, if you're Hawaii, San Jose State, Reno, and maybe New Mexico, although I think New Mexico kind of like they're the main school in a state, but I think those four schools, you're stressing a little bit.
Yeah,
And
you
it
got 2
stinks
years to
for
figure it out, basically.
it stinks for Reno. Actually, no, it doesn't. I would say no, it doesn't stink for any of those teams. I think Reno has been underfunded for years. They've got a gosh darn track around their stadium, Mackey Stadium. San Jose State, don't even get me started. They had to take out half their. Actually, San Jose State's the team that should be good. You're in the Bay Area. You get better recruiting. You have literal like tech billionaire donors that you don't reach out to. It blows my mind, but oh well, it makes it easy for all of us. I think it's going to be Hawaii's going to lift. I think it's going to be Hawaii and San Jose State. I think those are the two schools that are left out, unfortunately.
Left out, and they have to
And
go
if I
into
had to,
who knows what's gonna happen
yeah,
with them.
and if I had to add two more, see, like it's the two more adding that would stink. But would you say it would probably go Reno and
I don't know the
Air Force? Do you think they'd take Air Force? Do you think it'd be like Reno
I
and Air
think
Force?
Air Force, if they didn't take Air Force could easily join the American because
Yeah,
Navy and Army are already in there. Even though when they play each other, it's not a conference game, but
yeah. That'd be funny. Yeah, and then I think Reno and Air Force or New Mexico and Air Force would be the next combination of two. But yeah, excited to see potentially Wazoo play Boise. I mean, Boise already had Oregon State on the schedule, so
and Oregon. So
yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun for Bronco fans next year. All right, let's move in to the meme matchup of the week, the recurring. Who went first last time? Was it me or you?
I think you went first last time. I don't remember.
All right. Well, do you have the same meme matchup as me? I sent mine in earlier, but
Mine, it's the annual Alabama versus Chattanooga matchup.
yes. Enough said. Honestly, like the
It's
week before,
always
there's gonna be some like journalist that goes like scheduling a cupcake like right,
yeah,
right before Iron Bowl week, scheduling a cupcake. But Alabama, they've learned their lesson because the Citadel used to always be on this, and they've beaten like
right.
three teams this week. I feel so bad for the Citadel that like they don't get scheduled anymore. No one
No,
schedules the Citadel anymore. But Chattanooga, University of Tennessee at Chattanooga. Oh man. Well, they're just going to be. I bet all those players are going to be having fun playing in a big stadium. Maybe if they're. I don't know. How? What's that game going to be on? SEC Network Plus.
I will tell you right now, it is on
That's
SEC
on.
Network Plus. Yep, and ESPN Plus.
Yep, SEC Network. Yep, it's on SEC Network. Told you.
Which they're not. Chattanooga's not terrible this year. They're 7-3.
Never say never. what's
They
what's
just lost
Chattanooga's?
to another Alabama rival on this weekend in Furman.
Okay, never mind. They do not have a single chance. Sorry, Chattanooga. I think if Chattanooga covers, that's a win. This has bad beat game written all over it because I bet the spread's like 4 touchdowns, and it's gonna be like, oh, Chattanooga's playing them close, and it's gonna be like 2 touchdowns in 2 minutes at the very end.
It's just that game always. I don't know that I look forward to this game every year because I know it's coming and it makes for a great content.
So this is a game that I personally look forward to every year. My meme matchup of the week is the big game. And for those who are thinking, oh, there's a lot of big games. No, there is only one big game. I'm talking Cal versus Stanford. This is the ACC in conference matchup, the battle for the axe. Probably the only game that a lot of these students are going to. Although I will say, Cal, I joke about Cal. It's such an interesting dichotomy because I think Cal's fans care more. I think Cal's just more poorly run, or has been poorly run football wise. Where I think Stanford has better athletic people like running those programs, but their fans don't care one bit unless they're winning.
Yeah.
I am, but this is a game that I'm gonna watch. Me and my family watch it all the time, and we laugh at the nerds who have to like run with the axe, like in the striped shirts, and they're like guarding it. We're like, those people are nerds, and they always do the. Have you watched this game where they do the stare down between like the Stanford like Spirit Squad and like the Cal Spirit Squad, like, and they're just like, it's just like dorks, and they're like mean mugging each other. But the funniest was during COVID when they could only have like a couple people, and they were like 20 yards apart, and they had masks on. And they're trying to mean mug. But no, this game's gonna be awesome. I think Cal's battling for bowl eligibility, so like they have something to play for. So I'm
I've
I'm
always
excited.
just
I got
thought
Cal
of this
winning this game.
game because I'm sure you don't remember this because you're a little younger than me. But there used to be an NCAA this like I don't remember what it was called. It was like this thing where it would take like a bunch of games that had happened in the past and it would put you in the situation. Like
Was it the Bandits out on the field?
it was the bandit down on the field and you had to run the kickoff back. And it took me so many times to like once you beat it, you got like a little thing. It was like checked by it. And they had like
Does the band actually run out on the field in the video game?
no, but like they would have like that and it would put like literally like that's the only play you ran. Like that was all you did is like try to run the kickoff back. Or like they had like the choke at Doak when Florida was up 31-3 in the fourth quarter or late third quarter, whatever it is, and you take control of FSC with like 2 minutes left in the third, and you have to like lead a like that's like what you have to do. And so I always that one took me the longest to beat. The other ones it would be like the Cordell Stewart Hail Mary or the Doug Flutie Hail Mary. Like
Yep, I
those
remember
you
that
get
Flutie Hail Mary.
lucky
My
on, but that one like running the kickoff back, it would be just like you had one chance. So
my my video game experience with Cal was the RG3 college football was my first college football game that like I bought with my own money and like played. It was NCAA 13, right? That was the one before 14. So
yeah.
this is NCAA 13, and I I played it was like dynasty mode, but it like wasn't. It was like just the single season dynasty where you got to choose like it was like between like 15 Heisman winners and you could plop them on any team you wanted. And I won. I played RG3 on Cal like 5 seasons in a row and it won like 4 national championships at Cal with RG3 as my quarterback. And I think I was running like a pro style offense. So I was just like just hitting curl flats all day and just read options. It was so funny. Like just like the RG3 and the old like Javid Best Cal uniforms. It was a lot of fun.
Great times, and it
I
will
think
be
Cal
back.
should bring those back. Yeah, it will be back. That'll be fun. I might have to buy a PS5 for that
Just
game. But
well, I think we're
honestly,
ready to go to our
coaching
high-low
candidates, the
bowl.
high-low Buffalo for this week. But high-low Buffalo this week, instead of the high-low in Buffalo, we each brought our 2 top candidates for the 3 jobs that we talked about earlier. So BSU, Texas A&M, UCLA. Zooch has his top 2 candidates for each school. I have my top 2 candidates for each school. I guess a couple. I bet a couple of these will be the same. But I'm excited for UCLA because that's one that I think they could really go anywhere. I'm excited to see. So yeah, shoot. Let's start with that one. UCLA. Who are your 2 candidates that you have?
So the first one, and I think he's going to probably, if he hasn't interviewed, he is soon, is Ryan Grubb, the offensive coordinator at Washington.
Okay.
He's there just because I think he used to be at Fresno. He knows the California area pretty well. I know they're going to the Big Ten, but they're going to be recruiting
California,
that
West
area
Coast.
still. So he's my number one. UCLA is a weird one because I was trying to think of a second one, and it's like I didn't really see any group of five guys that I thought would want to from that area that would go over there. Like, I mean, obviously they're not taking like Avalos as their head coaching hire. I don't
Bedford's
think
too old. Like that's where I
Tedford's
looked. I
too
looked at
old.
like the Fresno. Who's the Fresno coach? But he's too old.
So I was thinking, but I don't even know if they would do him. Like even Barry Odom because he didn't work out at Missouri. Like
I thought of Barry Odom too, but didn't choose him.
so, and this guy's on a couple of my lists, and I don't know if he's even going to get interviewed, but it would be Tommy Rees.
That's a fair call. I think if UCLA went like the young coach route, like the young take a chance route, would be with Tommy Rees. Like
And I
that.
think he has, I mean, like,
I've made fun of Tommy Rees a lot in the past, but I think that's just because more of his love affair with Ty Buckner
yeah,
than anything. Like I think Tommy Rees is a good offensive mind. I just think he just needs to be as far away from Ty Buckner as possible, and
fair,
then and he'll be fine.
fair.
But yeah, my top one that I think some people might eye open and go, oh, there's no way, is Jonathan Smith at Oregon State.
Oh, yeah, it's a good one.
Jonathan Smith at Oregon State. People are going, what? He would never leave. Why? Oregon State is not going to be in a Power Four next year. Jonathan Smith, especially if he wins out or wins one of these last two games against UW, and Oregon will probably get to a huge bowl game. He can go out a winner. People at Oregon State know, yeah, Oregon State's better than a lot of jobs in college football, but it's not a stay job.
No,
It's not an end-all be-all job. UCLA is a huge brand in school. Like that is a stay job. That's a
yeah,
job that what people UCLA has the infrastructure to compete for national championships. And I know it shocks a lot of people, but it really does. It has the money, the facilities, the recruiting, the location, the aura. It has everything. I think Jonathan Smith I could totally see him like beating Oregon, winning a bowl game, and going like, "Hey fellas, sorry, like I'm leaving," and like everyone's like, "Thank you, Jonathan Smith," like just sad. Second one, more of a pipe dream for me, but Jimbo Fisher would just be so funny at UCLA. He really would, wouldn't he?
he would be great. He would be
I
like
mean,
when Eddie O was at USC.
yeah, no, he just wouldn't fit in. I don't think he wants to live in California. But part of me thinks he could work in the Big Ten. I think Jimbo would be like if they wanted to go with the Chip Kelly like style, like kind of like that older, like been around the block coach, but a little bit more fresh. Because I think Chip, it was a stale Chip towards the end. Pardon my pun, but but yeah, I think Jimbo at UCLA could work. But I think Jonathan, I think out of all the four that we just named, he's fourth. I think Jonathan Smith and Tommy Rees would be like way better than Jimbo Fisher.
Jimbo.
So let's go to A&M. So my top two candidates for A&M, obviously one, you might have this too. It's Mike Elko at Duke.
Yeah,
Do you have him as well?
yeah,
I mean, it's almost like it's so in your face. Like I literally think this is where they're going to go. Proven coach, proven he can recruit out of his budget at Duke, getting good players. Like remember watching the game? It's like, is that Al Blades kid? Like from the transfer portal on Duke? Like what? So he proves he can recruit well, coach well, Texas A&M ties. I don't like this is so in the face. This next one is one where I think if both sides swallowed their pride, this could be the perfect fit. But it will never happen because both sides won't swallow their pride. And that's Lane Kiffin. I think Lane Kiffin works in some sick way, in some sicko way, works at Texas A&M. It'll never happen because A&M fans won't get their head out their own butts. Kiffin is way too much of a troll to deal with the what is like royal family like procedures you have to do at Texas A&M. You already know he'd let some tweet rip out in college stations like what a line hashtag come to the station if just like some lady like looking weird at a gas station. Someone would be like, "That's my grandma Kiffin, why don't you shut up?"
I do not want him to leave Ole Miss, obviously, but him having to interact with the what do they call the
The
guys who
12th
do all
man,
the no, what is that
the
like
cadets, the cadets.
yeah that do the chants would be
Yeah.
just hilarious. But I agree. I think they both. I I really do think he's going to stay at Ole Miss for a while. I think he wants to go to Alabama eventually. I think
Oh,
that's the
100%. That's his
job
end
he
goal.
wants. And I mean I love Ole Miss, but I get wanting that job. I also get wanting to stay at Ole Miss because I do think you have the crazy fans who think they should have beaten Georgia by 25, but 99.9% of their fans are really happy with finishing 10-2 and possibly
Yeah.
going to a New Year's Six bowl. That's like a pretty good season
Hmm.
for
I
them.
mean, yeah, go for it. What's your last
So I
candidate?
have Mike Elko's number one, and my number two, and I part of me thinks this is really going to happen this year, specifically if this team wins the national title. I think A&M's going to wait a little bit on this process. A&M doesn't have they don't have to be like Boise State. They don't have to be in a rush. They have all the money in the
Money.
world. So, which is I mean it was legitimately hilarious that they're buying Jimbo Fisher out and they had a check at halftime for like $163
Yep.
million dollars and they're
Like
like
the 12th man foundation. Like, was just
yeah.
like, we've seen enough.
But part of me and I'm just going not even an instinct, but I just have this like weird feeling that this might be the year that if Nick Saban wins a national title at Alabama, I think he might go to Texas A&M. I think they would pay
No.
him an obscene if they offered him an obscene amount of money.
No,
Like
no,
I'm
no.
talking like
No.
$20 million. I think he would go
A year?
just to see.
Isn't he already making
Yeah,
20 million a year?
no, I think he's at like 10. He's at like 10, isn't he?
Dude, I think they have to pay Nick Saban like 30. I go back because Saban
He's at
and
11.4.
he's been at Alabama for too long for I think people forget he kind of left LSU out of the blue, left Michigan State out of the
I
blue,
would just
left the Dolphins out of the blue. No, that would just be Nick Saban going, no, but he would throw away everything at Alabama. That would have to be a Nick Saban is I think he's one of the most competitive people on the planet. That would I think make him the most competitive person on the planet, more than Tom Brady, more than Michael Jordan, because he would be willing to throw away everything, pretty much, because he would probably be too old and he probably not be in a state where he could visit Alabama before it became good blood. He would throw away everything to prove that I'm the best coach because I'm gonna win at Texas A&M. Like that.
And
Oh,
I see. I mean, like I said, it's probably not going to happen. But if I was them, I would just go all hands on deck and at least try. He's got that. I can't think of that agent's name that represents all the SEC coaches, but he has like Kirby, Lane Kiffin, Saban. I seriously think that A&M might hire if they don't go Mike Elko. I think they might hire someone. It might not be Saban, but someone who you're like, I did not
what
see
the
that.
heck? Like maybe like another name, like a Kalen DeBoer. Like even like at a school like Washington, huge, big like Big Ten, like you think he has everything. Like you think A&M's gonna pull the card like always a bigger fish. Like sorry,
Yeah,
a
just
school like
offer
Washington.
so much money that
Sorry.
you're just like, dude, it's so I have to say yes to this because even if I fail there, my whole family is set for God knows how long.
Yeah, that's insane. And now let's get to the fun one. Boise State. Man, I'm excited. I think I got two good candidates right here.
Go ahead with
So
them.
first one, Texas State head coach J.G. Kinney, I think would be a great fit. I think because he's defensive minded, right? Or is he offensive
No,
minded?
he played quarterback at Tulsa. He's offensive
Yeah,
minded.
so offensive minded. He would be getting a pay raise. This would be a step up job for him. He Texas State had never won a bowl game, had never
Right.
qualified for a bowl game until he got there. So I think this would be a good fit. He's around the Texas market, somewhere that BSU loves to recruit. And I think this is the route that they could take if it's like, hey, we know BSU is not the forever home for a lot of coaches, but why don't you implement like a 4 or 5 year plan here? win a ton, get a new kind of culture system in place, and then yeah, try to get hired by a Big 12 school. Like, cause that's your goal, JG. Like that's what Jeremiah should tell me. Like, that's your goal. Like, why not?
Yeah.
Then my second, this is my personal favorite. This is a personal pipe dream of mine. And people, I know there's gonna be a lot of BSU fans who are gonna scoff their noses, like, whoa, we're better than that. We're better than that. No, we're not. We're 5-5. We need someone who gets Idaho. We need someone who recruits the state. We need someone who comes to hashtag Eagle High School looking for hashtag ballers at 6 a.m. I'm talking Jason Eck for the
I
U of
would
I
love that hire.
Vandals. Jason Eck, I watched this guy's interviews. He's just so charismatic. He's brought a school that is probably, would you say, before Jason Eck got there, probably the worst football program in America. Like
Yeah.
honestly, I'm being completely honest. Probably a bottom 20 program in the country for FCS,
Oh
and
yeah.
he's ranked top 10 in FCS now. Should be a great hire. Could stay within the state, and I mean, part of it was just I know it would piss so many Vandal fans off and make me happy, but I think Jason Eck, because I think Jason Eck would be like Boise could be a forever home for him because he's not getting any younger. He loves the state. Come down to Boise, double your salary, double your resources, and prove it to yourself. I don't know.
Yeah.
He seems to really like Idaho, but I think Jason Eck would be a great fit.
I would like both of those because they're outside of the family, and we've discussed that
That's the
before.
thing with like Jason Eck. I think Jason Eck is like a good hybrid outside the family because it's
Yeah.
like outside the family, but it's still like in the state of Idaho. Going to Eagle High School looking for hashtag ballers. One of the best tweets ever. If you haven't seen this tweet by Jason Eck, it's like him and some poor like grad assistant who they seem to woken up at 4:30 a.m. and they're at Eagle High School. And he just goes looking for hashtag ballers at hashtag Eagle High School.
Alrighty. So both of mine are currently coaches in the SEC, but it's not who a lot of people who associate coaches who are in the SEC with Boise State. Because most people are thinking I'm probably going to say Kirby Moore. It's not Kirby Moore. My number one, I don't even know if I would say number one. I just think this would be a really good hire because I know he's a younger coach. He played in the NFL, all time great at Auburn, pretty good. I think he made all pro in the NFL too. Cadillac Williams. I think if they could somehow, and I know he played at Auburn, coaches there, probably wants to do more at Auburn. But I think that's the type of guy you need to come in, is somebody who really can bring out, like, tell people, like, I can get you, I've been to the NFL. I was good in college. I've coached at these big programs. I know stuff that, works. I don't think they're even thinking about, I haven't even seen his name mentioned, but I think that sometimes the best hires is the ones that you're just like, whoa, what the hell? Where did that guy come from? He's up there, and pretty close to him is, I still think, because he's gotten, like, Brian Kelly really wanted him. Nick Saban really wanted him. I think that says something about Tommy Rees. And I got annoyed as
You
hell with
think
Tommy Rees when he was the quarterback at Notre Dame. But, I mean, you've seen the drop off in Notre Dame's offense this year when he's not there. I think he is. And, like, yeah, I get the whole thing with
and you see what he's been able to do with Milrow this year. Boise State's got a dual threat quarterback who is a average passer, kind of like Milrow, and been able to design an offense perfectly around him. I
exactly. And I just think you have to, I think the way coaching is going now is I don't think these, like, hard nosed, like, old school coaches are really working anymore. In a lot of places, like, yeah, I think Kirby Smart, it's working. Nick
you c-
Saban, it's working. But I don't know. Like, personally, I'm not a big fan of hiring someone who has coached here before or played here. I think you need to bring in someone I think people mistake these coaches who were under Chris Peterson and thinking they're a great coach when they benefited from having Chris Peterson, who truly was a great head coach.
I mean, even Harson was a pretty good head coach. Like Harson's offense, like offensive genius. You could say how he want about like him caring about all the other parts about football and a program, but even Harson was kind of a genius on the field, like play calling wise, that I think a lot of other coaches benefited from. But I 100% agree with the Tommy Reese thing. It's the hard nosed coach. I think that only works if you have something to back it up now. Like I don't
Yeah,
think you can just like come in and be like, well, I won 10 games at I won 10 games at Marshall and we won the Sun Belt and this is how I coach. It's like, I don't care.
right.
Like I don't care. Like that it's a different time. You got to find someone who's willing to, I think, embrace the transfer portal. And I think BSU like knew even when people were all about Andy, people were going, "Oh, geez, you only brought in 10 people on transfer portal, and none of them look slated to start. Like they're all just kind of like filler guys."
Right.
Like I think it's gonna need to be someone for me at BSU to come in and say, "Hey, look, we got a pretty solid team, but I think best breeds best. I'm gonna bring in if there's a good guy in the transfer portal that we can get, I'm gonna bring him in regardless of position."
Yeah.
I think that's the mindset that needs to be adopted. But I totally agree. I didn't even think of Tommy Reese going to Boise. But I mean, looking at it again, if he's looking for a stepping stone, because that's what it would be for Tommy Reese is a
Yeah.
stepping stone. This would not be a forever job for him. But yeah,
Which, and I don't know
three
why
years.
Boise State fans get so upset about that. 115 of the 134 FBS schools, or whatever it is now, 133 are stepping stones. Some teams might not want to believe it,
I mean,
but
shoot,
they are.
Cincinnati was a stepping stone, and they're in the Big 12. Luke Fickle
Right.
left them knowing they were going to the Big 12. Like that's like it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean,
It
if you
really is.
go conference by
Is Oklahoma a stepping stone? Like Lincoln Riley used it to get the USC. Like it's
yeah, like, and those are the ones that, like, yeah, if someone leaves like Oklahoma or Notre Dame, it's usually to a program who's, you know, right there. Like, it's either you're going to the NFL or you're going to a program who's also on par with you. Of like, that's somebody's like, they're 9 times out of 10, they're not leaving there. And that's like, you have like USC, probably UCLA, Oregon. Even Oregon, I wouldn't put up there. Like Dan Lanning, if he keeps doing great there, are you gonna? Would people really believe that if Alabama came open and they offered him the job, that he would say no to go into the University of Alabama?
or
Like,
if Georgia, like if he got to go back to coaching, yeah, like
right? Like, it's most schools are a stepping stone, and most people don't want to like. And BSU truly is a stepping stone. They just,
I would say that's one of the appeals of BSU is that it does not get a better like there are a few better stepping stones than BSU.
yeah,
Like they're I don't like it has all it has more facilities than anyone they're competing with. You can easily it is the best place to make a good impression. It's at
right.
BSU. So I'm excited to see who they hire, man. I
I am
really
too.
am. I part of me I don't think they're gonna I think they're gonna go outside the Bronco family. I do.
Thank God.
I don't know. But then part of me thinks that I go back and forth. But then I guess the last thing I'll say about the BSU coaching hire is that like outside of the Bronco family, like how many guys like are truly like the best option comparatively to like someone like Tommy Reese or Texas State? Like Dinwiddie's not gonna come. He's like with Spencer Dinwiddie, Kirby Moore, Rich Kochache or whatever his name is. I can't
Oh,
pronounce it.
Jeff Choate.
Yeah, Jeff Choate. Like all good coaches, like all good coaches. But I think people realize now, like, hey, we have to try something new. And if it doesn't work, then we're all the idiots, right? And well, why do we ever do that? But you have to try something. It's become stale. Everything becomes stale at some point, and there just needs to be some sort of new fire. So shoot, Tommy Reese. I didn't even think of that. That's a good option right there.
He
The
will
Reese
go off
Reese
on somebody
Pieces.
though. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I can just picture it now, like Tommy Reese just like screaming in Maddox Madsen's ear for like overthrowing a 5 yard out. Like I can see it
It
now.
will happen. Do your effing job.
Yeah, do your effing job.
So we'll see. I mean, it's
Looking back, I feel so bad. Who did he have at quarterback when he was at Notre Dame? Ty Buckner and Drew Pine.
Yeah.
Shoot, I would have left too.
Yep, he got out of there. I mean, if most of Nick Saban's assistants have ended up doing, I mean, Kirby was his assistant, Jimbo Fisher was his
He's like the
assistant.
antithesis to Belichick. Like all of
Yeah,
Saban's assistants do well.
exactly.
All of Saban's assistants do well.
So, well, I think that's everything.
That's everything.
We'll probably do an early show next week, I would tell people.
Early show? Oh, because of the holidays? Yeah.
The holidays, and we have some pretty important games Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So
That's right. Yeah. Oh yeah, the Egg Bowl. I mean, you can talk about more next week, a little sneak peek, but I didn't grow up watching the Egg Bowl because I have no attachments to Mississippi or Mississippi State. So you just watched I feel like the Egg Bowl kind of got screwed when the NFL added that third night game
yeah, they did.
because they used to just be the Lions and Cowboys, no third night game. But yeah, that's it. Anything else for you, man?
I don't think so. We will see everybody next week.
See everybody next week. Godspeed.